Imagine biting into your favorite Walmart snack, only to find out it's banned in Europe. Not discouraged, not limited, straight up banned. Here's a wild stat. Over 80 additives approved in US foods are completely banned in the EU. So the real question is, why are these still on our shelves? Today, we're counting down 9 popular Walmart foods banned in Europe. And trust me, number 1 will have you questioning every frozen dinner aisle you've ever walked down. Let's get into it. 9. Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. Let's get real for a second. How many of us grew up pouring a big bowl of Frosted Flakes, thinking we were starting our day right? That iconic tiger, the sugary crunch, it felt like a childhood treat we could trust. But here's the cold, hard truth. Those very same Frosted Flakes sold in Walmart across America are made with BHT, a synthetic preservative that's completely banned in multiple European countries. Why? Because studies have linked BHT to potential cancer risks in animals. If it's not allowed in the UK, Germany, or Sweden, why is it still in your pantry? Think about that for a moment. Europe didn't just slap a warning label on it, they banned it. That means when their food agencies saw the same research we have, they decided the risk just wasn't worth it. Meanwhile, we keep feeding it to our kids every morning like it's no big deal. And the craziest part? Kellogg's knows this. That's why they reformulate the cereal for Europe. No BHT, cleaner ingredients, safer product. So let me ask you, why do they think Americans should settle for less? This isn't about cereal. It's about trust. It's about what's really going into our bodies, and why big food companies think they can get away with it. When even parents are saying, I just couldn't let my kids eat that anymore, it's time we start asking tougher questions. How many more trusted Walmart favorites are hiding banned ingredients behind a shiny box? Stick with me, because what's next on this list will shake up what you thought you knew about your grocery cart. 8. Gatorade, Fierce Grape or Orange. Picture this. You just crushed a workout, you're sweating buckets, and you reach for that cold, colorful Gatorade from Walmart. Feels like you're doing your body a favor, right? Hydration, electrolytes, recovery. But what if I told you that bottle might be harming your body instead? Some Gatorade flavors, including Fierce Grape and Orange, still contain BVO, brominated vegetable oil, an additive that's been banned in the European Union since 2008. And not just restricted, banned. Because BVO has been linked to hormone disruption and even neurological damage. That's not a minor side effect. That's your body's entire system being thrown off. So let's ask the obvious. If Europe pulled it off the shelves over a decade ago, why is it still showing up in 32 Oz bottles at your local Walmart? Why are we still okay chugging down something that messes with our endocrine system? The same system that controls everything from metabolism to mood. It's not just a sports drink anymore. It's a chemistry experiment in a plastic bottle. And we're the ones drinking it without even knowing. That cool grape flavor might taste refreshing, but at what cost? Here's the wildest part. Gatorade sells different versions in Europe with cleaner, safer formulas. No BVO. So clearly, it can be made better. They just don't offer that version to us. Why? Because we're not asking loud enough. And while you sit there thinking, well, it's just a drink, remember, these little things add up. One bottle, one choice at a time. Ready for more? Wait until you hear what's being slipped into one of America's most iconic comfort foods. Coming up next. 7. Great Value Macaroni and Cheese Dinner. It's the ultimate go-to comfort food. A box of Great Value mac and cheese from Walmart feels like the safest bet on a busy weeknight. Fast, cheap, kid-approved. But behind that familiar orange glow hides a truth most shoppers never see. This family-friendly favorite is made with Yellow 5 and Yellow 6, synthetic dyes that have been directly linked to hyperactivity and behavioral issues in children. In the US, they're casually tossed into our meals. In parts of Europe, they're either banned or require warning labels as serious as cigarette packs. Let that sink in. Food you're feeding your kids here wouldn't even make it to store shelves over there. And here's the kicker. Companies know this. In fact, many of the same food brands reformulate their products for Europe to remove these dyes entirely. That means a child in France can eat mac and cheese without those chemicals, but a child in Florida? Not so lucky. Why are we okay being the test market for additives that other countries refuse to allow? Why are we still calling this family-friendly when the very ingredients are raising red flags across the world? One dad summed it up best. I thought mac and cheese was the safe meal. Turns out, it's more like a science experiment. And he's not wrong. Because when food colors are linked to behavior changes in our children, that's not dinner. That's a risk. So here's the question. If we wouldn't feed this to our kids knowing what's in it, why are we letting Walmart and other brands sell it as normal? Stay with me. The next item might be sitting in your pantry right now, and it's even more deceptive. 6. Betty Crocker Fudge Brownie Mix. There's something about a warm, gooey brownie that just feels like home. You crack open that Betty Crocker box from Walmart, stir it up, and wait for the smell to fill the kitchen. Feels innocent, right? But behind that chocolatey goodness hides something far from sweet. Ingredients like BHA and BHT, chemical preservatives that are banned or severely restricted in parts of Europe due to links with cancer in lab studies. That's not some fringe theory. It's backed by enough concern that entire countries said no thanks to these additives. But here, they're baked right into our treats. And it doesn't stop there. Some versions of this mix may also contain genetically modified ingredients, and you won't find a label warning you about it. That's because in the US, companies aren't required to tell you when you're eating GMOs, while European countries demand transparency. Imagine giving your kids dessert, only to find out later it's loaded with controversial additives and undisclosed genetic modifications. Still feel like comfort food? So yeah, that rich, fudgy flavor might come with a side of regret. Not because it doesn't taste good, but because the label isn't telling you the whole truth. And that's what we're all about here on Frugal Daily, pulling back the curtain on what's really inside the foods we trust. If this is opening your eyes, smash that like button and hit subscribe. We're just getting started, and the next item on this list might be the one you've eaten more times than you can count. Don't go anywhere. 5. Maruchan Ramen Noodle Soup, Chicken Flavor. It's practically a rite of passage. Late nights, tight budgets, empty pantries, and there it is, Maruchan Ramen from Walmart. Chicken flavor, 33 cents a pack, ready in 3 minutes. Feels harmless, right? But here's what they don't tell you. Inside that crinkly package is TBHQ, a chemical preservative that's been banned in the European Union for being linked to tumors, allergies, and immune dysfunction in animal studies. You read that right, banned. While we're busy slurping noodles, other countries have flat out rejected this additive as unsafe. The danger here isn't just the price tag, it's the false sense of safety. Because who questions a snack that costs less than $1? It's the kind of food that slips under the radar, especially for students, families on a budget, or anyone just trying to stretch a grocery bill. But TBHQ isn't just a long-worded ingredient. It's a chemical that may stay in your system long after the noodles are gone. And the more you eat, the more it builds up. The cheap part? That's only up front. This one's sneaky, because nobody expects danger from a $0.33 snack. But maybe that's exactly why it's dangerous. We assume it's safe because it's everywhere. But next time you see a wall of Maruchan at Walmart, ask yourself, why would Europe pull it off shelves while we stack it like it's candy? Up next, a breakfast pastry that looks like a treat, but reads like a lab experiment. 4. Pillsbury Toaster Strudel, Strawberry. Mornings are chaos. The bus is coming, everyone's late, and breakfast has to be fast. So what do? We grab a Pillsbury Toaster Strudel from the Walmart freezer. It looks fun, tastes sweet, and hey, it even comes with icing. But here's the ugly truth hiding under that flaky crust. Propylene glycol, the same compound found in antifreeze, is in the ingredients list. You heard that, right? In the US, it's legal to serve to children. In Europe, it's heavily restricted or outright banned from food products. Because when something's used in car fluid, maybe it doesn't belong in your breakfast. And it gets worse. Those bright pink swirls that make it look so fun, they come from artificial food dyes. The same ones that have been linked to behavior issues in kids and are either banned or require warning labels in much of Europe. So while their version of toaster strudel is toned down, ours is cranked up with synthetic colors, chemicals, and unregulated additives, all dressed up to look like a treat. It's not just a pastry anymore, it's a marketing trick. The saddest part? We're feeding this to our children thinking it's a harmless breakfast. But if Europe says no thanks to the exact same ingredients, why are we still pretending it's normal? Why are these kinds of items filling Walmart freezer aisles without a single warning label in sight? If you thought this was bad, wait until you see what's being added to salmon to make it look more appetizing. The truth will turn your stomach. 3. Great value farm-raised Atlantic salmon. Color added. At first glance, that vibrant pink salmon from Walmart looks perfect. fresh, healthy, appetizing. But here's the uncomfortable truth. That color is fake. The farm-raised Atlantic salmon sold under Walmart's Great Value label often gets its hue not from nature, but from a synthetic dye called astaxanthin, added directly into the fish's feed. Why? Because without it, the flesh would be dull, grayish, and far less marketable. So instead of letting the fish's diet determine its quality, companies are coloring your dinner to make it look healthier than it really is. Now here's what Europe has to say about that. Synthetic astaxanthin is banned or strictly regulated across the EU, and for good reason. When it comes to food, appearance should never come before safety. They chose to protect consumers from additives used purely for visual manipulation. But here in the US, we allow it without hesitation. You're buying salmon thinking it's wild, nutrient-rich, and clean, when in reality, it's been artificially enhanced like a grocery store catfish in disguise. Here's a wild fact. Real wild salmon gets its pink color naturally from eating krill and shrimp in the ocean. But when you buy the Great Value version at Walmart, you're not just getting salmon, you're getting a seafood illusion. So now, ask yourself, if the color is fake, what else about it isn't what it seems? Up next, a classic American breakfast that may look wholesome on the surface, but beneath the label hides a cancer-linked ingredient most people have never heard of. Keep watching. 2. Quaker. Instant oatmeal, maple and brown sugar. You wake up looking for something warm, easy, and comforting. And oatmeal feels like the right choice. It's marketed as heart-healthy, full of fiber, a good start to your day. But here's the reality buried in that cozy little packet from Walmart. Quaker's maple and brown sugar oatmeal contains caramel coloring type IV, a processed additive that can produce a chemical called 4-MEI, which has been linked to cancer in animal studies. Now ask yourself, does that sound like a healthy breakfast? Here's what makes it even more frustrating. The European Union places strict limits on this type of coloring. They recognize the risks and regulate it heavily. But in the US, it's still quietly mixed into a product sold to millions, especially children and older adults. Think about that. A food that's branded as safe and nurturing might be doing more harm than you'd ever imagine. And companies count on the fact that most of us never read the fine print on a packet of oatmeal. What really stings is the betrayal. Quaker's entire brand image is built around trust, tradition, and wholesomeness. The smiling man in the hat, the classic Americana vibe. But what they're selling is far from wholesome when it's laced with risky additives the rest of the world is moving away from. That warm bowl might be serving you more than oats. It might be serving you a wake-up call. And if this shocked you, wait until you hear what's hiding in Walmart's frozen fried chicken. You won't believe what they're putting in there. 1. Banquet Original Fried Chicken, Frozen Meal. You've seen it 100 times. That red box in Walmart's freezer aisle. Banquet Original Fried Chicken. It promises a quick hot meal that feels like home. But behind the crispy coating and mashed potatoes lies a chemical cocktail that Europe doesn't touch. This home-style frozen dinner contains sodium phosphates and carboxymethyl cellulose, 2 food additives that are restricted or banned across Europe due to their potential links to kidney damage, heart issues, and long-term metabolic harm. In the US, it's sold as comfort food. In much of Europe, it wouldn't even be allowed through the door. And it's not just scientists sounding the alarm. A nurse from Georgia put it bluntly, "This isn't food, it's chemistry class." She's right. These additives don't exist to improve taste or nutrition. They're there to stretch shelf life, thicken sauces, and mimic textures we think are normal. But just because something looks like a meal doesn't mean your body treats it like one. Imagine feeding your family something that's banned elsewhere for health concerns, all because it fits the budget. That's not saving money. That's rolling the dice with your health. And here's the real gut punch. It's labeled home style. As if what's inside that box even remotely resembles real, homemade food. But once you read the ingredients, you realize it's not just misleading, it's insulting. So let me leave you with this. When a $2 frozen meal contains chemicals that Europe won't allow near their dinner plates, it's time we stop asking, is it cheap? And start asking, is it safe? Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about spending less. It's about spending smarter. And knowing what we're really putting on the table, even when it comes from trusted stores like Walmart. So tell me, which one of these Walmart items surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if this opened your eyes, you need to see our next video. 7 popular Costco foods that are banned in Europe. If you think only Walmart has skeletons in the freezer, wait until you see what Costco's hiding behind those bulk deals. Number 2 is a total shocker. Thanks for watching Frugal Daily, where saving money never means settling for less. See you in the next one.